Hello and welcome to Week 5 in the NFL. I'm Tom Mauro, and we have all of Week 5's amazing games and scores.
I'm Manno, and we'll be bringing out a brand new segment covering all the injuries in the NFL.
I'm McQuillan, and we have your top 5 fantasy players of the week.
I'm Finnegan Corcoran-Doolin, and we have a special guest today. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to BMB's Primetime Fantasy Report for Week 5. This week's game of the week is Thursday night showdown between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Chicago Bears. Foles versus Brady in a quarterback Super Bowl rematch. Nick Foles came out to play and pulled off yet another win against a 6-time Super Bowl champ, Tom Brady, who could be a 7th-time champ if it wasn't for Nick Foles. However, Foles is not our player of the game. This week goes to linebacker Khalil Mack, who had two sacks, 1 hit, 2 hurries, and 1 battle pass. Oh yeah, and 1 hit toss to 320-pounder Tristan Wirfs. The Bears now extend their record to 4-1.
A team that is the opposite of that record is the Houston Texans, who beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 30-14. This is the first win they have this season without Bill O'Brien. Watson threw for 3 touchdowns and passed for 359 yards. It was definitely Watson's best game of the season, and the best game the Texans have had so far. The Texans take on the Titans next week, and has potential to be game of the week.
This week, the Ravens destroyed the Bengals 27-3. Lamar Jackson threw for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Ravens had a field day against the Bengals, who were lucky enough to get that field goal. Joe Burrow was getting killed by the Ravens D-line, who recorded 7 sacks. The Ravens now improved to 4-1.
The Falcons faced another tough loss against the Carolina Panthers to beat them 23-16. The Falcons fired their head coach, Dan Quinn, and might have the luck of the Texans. Mike Davis had a great game against the Falcons defense. Davis ran in for 1 touchdown and ran for 149 rushing yards. I don't think Christian McCaffrey needs to rush his injury. Mike Davis has it under control.
The upset of the week goes to the Las Vegas Raiders, who snapped a 13-game winning streak of the Kansas City Chiefs with a 40-32 victory. Quarterback Derek Carr threw for 347 yards and 3 touchdowns, who outplayed Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes. This was the first time Mahomes lost a game by 7+ points in his career. Mahomes went 40 straight starts without a loss by 7+ points, becoming the first quarterback to do that in NFL history. Carr just had a better day than Mahomes. That's something you don't hear every day.
Something you do hear every day, however, is how bad my New York Jets may be. The Jets added another loss to their 2020 season against the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. Kyler Murray is the player of the game. Murray threw for 380 yards, threw 1 touchdown pass, and ran in for 1. On the other hand, new Jets quarterback Joe Flacco threw 1 passing touchdown and threw for 195 yards. But the real breaking news is the release of running back Le'Veon Bell. After only 19 months, the running back is packing his bag and going somewhere else. Many believe that the coach-player relationship between Adam Gase and Le'Veon Bell never really worked out. It's going to be fun to see where Bell ends up in the future. Praying somehow the Jets do, though, get a victory against the Chargers in Week 6.
The Jets may still be winless, but you know who isn't defeated? The Pittsburgh Steelers, who extend their record to 4-0 with the win against the Philadelphia Eagles. Chase Claypool came to play and put up 4 touchdowns for the Steelers. Claypool was a great target for Big Ben, who himself threw for 239 yards and, of course, those 3 touchdown passes to Chase Claypool. Even though they lost, the Eagles were able to put up 29 points with 4 touchdowns from the likes of Miles Sanders, who had 2, Travis Fulgham, and Greg Ward. However, the Steelers' defense continues to prove why they may be the best in the league with 5 sacks. The Steelers sit atop the AFC North, may be the best division in football, while the Eagles themselves, sitting at 1-3-1, are still second in the NFC East, possibly the worst division in football.
Another great defense is the Los Angeles Rams, who defeated the Washington football team 30-10. Aaron Donald was unstoppable against the football team's offensive line. Donald got 4 sacks, Troy Reader got 3 sacks, and Ja'Kai Polite got 1 sack for a total of 8 sacks in one game. Another great player was Jared Goff, who passed 2 touchdowns and threw for 309 yards. The Rams have been a very fun team to watch this season.
Another upset this week was the Dolphins vs. 49ers game. Joining us to discuss this game is around campus host Jake Winckelmann. Jake, big Dolphins win on Sunday against 49ers. How are you feeling after that performance?
That was a fantastic win. I think the Dolphins are on the right track to a decent season. A lot of people were doubting us, and we're pretty slept on.
Now, Jake, being from New York, how did you become a Dolphins fan?
It runs in my family for sure, but every year I always go to Miami and I always chill in the Florida Keys. And I've always loved the color scheme of the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are also my favorite animal. It just screams my name. So, yeah, I like the Miami Dolphins. That's why.
Cool. Now, for our podcast show that you're currently on, we put veteran quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick as our player of the game. Do you agree in this scenario, or do you believe it should go to someone else?
No, for sure. I definitely believe it's Fitzmagic here, but I definitely had my doubts for Fitzmagic early in this season. He is an inconsistent, really good quarterback at the same time, though. But at the same time, I think he's a fantastic veteran for the Miami Dolphins and a fantastic veteran for Tua to learn under. And he's a great leader for our team, and he definitely deserves the starter job after his performance last week.
Absolutely. Next week, the Dolphins take on the Jets. Are you going into this game with any confidence after last week's game? Beating the 49ers who played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl last year.
All the confidence in the world, Tom. The Jets, not so good, and I'm so happy they're sticking with Gaze. I don't know what in the world they're thinking. I'm just going to have my laughs with it, and yeah, I think we're going to destroy them. We better. Right.
Now, what are your predictions for the rest of the Dolphin season?
To be honest, I don't want you guys to think that they're going to be like a crazy good team. To be honest with you, we do have I believe the second hardest schedule or the third hardest schedule in the league, and they always do this to us. But I think we're going to be a decent team. I think we're going to be maybe 8-8, 7-9, 9-7, around there, mediocre again. We have a great draft pick next year thanks to the Texans. So I think next year will be our good year.
Well, thank you, Jake, for joining us today and being our first guest appearance on BMB Primetime Fantasy Report. Now back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Tom, and thank you, Jake. I wonder who will join us next week.
Well, that's next week. We still have some great games to discuss. This week, the Cowboys defeated the New York Giants 37-34. It was a great game until Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott dislocated his ankle and must go into surgery. All of us here on BMB's Primetime Fantasy Report wish you a speedy recovery, and we hope to see you soon. But we'll go into more details in a bit. With Prescott being injured, it gave the Cowboys a reason to fight for the win. Our player of the game goes to Zeke Elliott, who ran for 100-plus yards and 2 touchdowns.
2020 has been a crazy year, and with the Cleveland Browns being 4-1 shows how insane this year has been. Baker Mayfield threw for 247 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. The QB that had 0 interceptions was Odell Beckham Jr., who once again proves he could do just about anything.
Another great game took place in Seattle where the Seahawks extended their winning streak to 5-0. DK Metcalf had another outstanding game. Metcalf scored 2 touchdowns and ran for 93 yards. Russell Wilson now has 30 games with the winning drive since entering the NFL in 2012, which is the most by any quarterback in that span of 8 years. The Seahawks may be the best team in the NFL today.
Even though the LA Chargers lost this past Monday, the player of the game is rookie quarterback Justin Herbert. Herbert made amazing plays against the amazing Saints defense. Herbert threw for 264 passing yards and passed for 2 touchdowns. Herbert has been an amazing addition to the Chargers locker room and seems like a very promising rookie.
And the final game we will discuss is the Tuesday Night Football game, which are the Tennessee Titans take up the Buffalo Bills in the battle of the undefeated 42-16. Our player of the game goes to Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill, who passed for 195 yards and threw for 3 touchdowns and also ran in for 1. Both teams have been having great seasons and have been a very entertaining part of the NFL season.
Before we tell you the fantasy players of the week, there have been a lot of schedule changes. The Denver Broncos versus the Patriots will be played in Week 6. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills game moved from Thursday to now Monday, October 19th at 5 p.m. The Jets versus the Dolphins will also play in Week 6.
The Jets versus the Chargers moves to Week 11, Sunday, November 22nd. The Jacksonville Jaguars versus the LA Chargers moves to Week 7. The LA Chargers versus the Denver Broncos moves to Week 8, Sunday, November 1st.
The LA Chargers versus Miami Dolphins move to Week 10, Sunday, November 15th. And the final game to be moved is the Miami Dolphins versus the Denver Broncos. That game will be now played in Week 11.
Wow, a lot of game changes this season. In a new segment called Injury Report, we will be doing just that, reporting Week 6's injury. Our first injury involving Dak Prescott, who we mentioned earlier, fractured and dislocated his ankle in Sunday's 4:25 game against conference rival, the New York Giants, in the third quarter. Prescott underwent successful surgery on Sunday and was released from the hospital on Monday. Many believe that this will only be a minor setback for the 27-year-old and doesn't appear to be a career-ending injury at all. A highlight from the injury was former Cowboys coach Jason Garrett, who showed total class when the injury happened. This was Garrett's first appearance in AT&T Stadium since being signed to the Giants, and he hoped it wouldn't be like this. Not only did his team lose, but his former quarterback and friend on and off the field suffered a horrific injury. Once again, all of us here hope for a speedy recovery for Dak Prescott, and we hope to see him again soon.
Another injury was Kansas City wide receiver Sammy Watkins, who is only expected to miss a couple of weeks because of a hamstring injury. Expecting Mecole Hardman to step up with Watkins being injured. Another injury that may affect the Bengals is wide receiver A.J. Green, who is dealing with a hamstring injury as well.
On the Minnesota Vikings, running back Dalvin Cook pulled his groin in the third quarter of Sunday night's game after a non-contact injury. Cook was eager to play, but the coaching staff did not believe he was able to return in the game.
Some new news has broken out, and we now know that Nick Chubb from the Cleveland Browns is out 4 to 6 weeks with a sprained MCL. That's all the major injuries from Week 5 in the NFL. We hope all these players can heal and rest up so they can get back to playing and entertaining us each and every week.
Shifting gears, we must tell you our top 5 fantasy players of this week.
In 5th place is our first tie. First from the Seattle Seahawks, DK Metcalf, who scored 27.3 fantasy points and scored 2 touchdowns, was a key factor in the Seahawks win over the Vikings. Second is rookie quarterback Justin Herbert, who, even though losing a heartbreaking defeat, still played outstanding against the great New Orleans Saints defense.
In 4th place is Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, who, even though lost the game, is still appearing on this list. Mahomes put up 29.7 points this week, threw for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns, and ran in for 1 as well. Mahomes takes on Josh Allen on the Buffalo Bills next week, which is sure to be a phenomenal game.
In 3rd place is Carolina Panthers running back Mike Davis, who put up 29.9 points. Davis carried the ball 16 times and ran for 89 yards. He also received the ball 4 times and scored 1 receiving touchdown in the Panthers' win against the Falcons on Sunday.
In 2nd place from the Houston Texans, wide receiver Brandon Cooks, who got your fantasy team 30.1 points this week with their own win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cooks really had to step it up to help the Texans get their first win of the season, and he just did that.
At the top of the board, this goes without saying that this man deserves it. From Pittsburgh Steelers, it's rookie wide receiver Chase Claypool. Claypool put up 42.6 points, scoring 4 touchdowns, 3 receiving, 1 rushing, and helped the Steelers extend their undefeated season against the Eagles this past Sunday. Claypool is another promising rookie that will help the Steelers, no doubt. Some amazing players, and they keep changing every week. So to get things started off by switching gears here, all 4 of us, are in the fantasy league. And to start things off, I took the W this week. I don't know about you guys. My big players of the week were Mike Davis, DeAndre Hopkins, and Deshaun Watson. Davis rushing for 1 touchdown, 60 receiving yards, 89 rushing yards. Hopkins had 131 receiving yards and a touchdown, and Watson had 2 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, and 359 yards. I moved on to 3-2 on the season. So, Sean, how did you do this week?
I did pretty well myself. I did win at a score of 110 to 97. My top 3 players this week were Adam Thielen, who led the way for me, scoring 29.3 fantasy points. Also with Chris Carson, Seattle Seahawks running back, who scored 19.9 points. And Houston Texans running back David Johnson, who scored an additional 12.3 points. How about you, Matt?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm on top of the world. I am 5-0. I had a narrow win, 109 to 108. My best players were Kyler Murray, who put up 26, CeeDee Lamb put up 20, Dalvin Cook put up 19, probably more if he didn't get injured. And then I also want to give a shout out to Justin Jackson, who I picked up off the waiver wire, got me just enough, got me 14.4, and I was able to secure the win. So now we're going to end it off by kicking it over to the man who I narrowly edged out by 1.2. Finn, how'd you do this week?
Well, this week I lost to Matt Manno, and it was by a kicker, so that's how I lost. My top 3 players of the week, though, were Darius Slayton, Kareem Hunt, and Devonta Freeman. Darius Slayton had 20 points, Kareem Hunt had 18, and Devonta Freeman had 16 points. And I'm proud to say 2 of those players were Giants players, so I was very happy with that. But it was unfortunate that I took the loss. And so thank you for watching BMB Primetime Fantasy Report for Week 5 in the NFL. Tune in next week for your recap of Week 6. See who is injured and see who scored the most fantasy points. I've been Finnegan Corcoran-Doolin, hoping for a big blue win.
I've been Matt Manno, and I have confidence that the Patriots will beat the Broncos. I said this last week, and I stand by it.
I'm Sean McQuillan, and I'll tell you next week how about the Jets lose again.
I've been Tom Mauro, and Sean, please have a little confidence in our Jets. Jeez. See you all next week for Primetime Fantasy Report, Week 6.